Bernie Madoff was a Wall Street titan. He was respected, he was admired, he was trusted, he was also a con man. For decades, Madoff operated the largest Ponzi scheme in history. This scheme defrauded thousands of investors of billions of dollars. Madoff's firm, Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities, promised consistent, above-average returns. This attracted a diverse clientele. Individuals, charities, and institutions entrusted their savings to Madoff. They believed in his aura of exclusivity and success. The truth, however, was far more sinister. Madoff's empire was built on lies. There were no real investments. There were no actual profits. It was all a carefully crafted illusion. Behind the facade of wealth and respectability lurked a web of deceit. Madoff's scheme would leave countless lives shattered in its wake. A Ponzi scheme is a type of financial fraud. It relies on attracting new investors. Their money is used to pay off earlier investors. This creates the illusion of profitability. Madoff's scheme was deceptively simple. He promised steady returns, regardless of market fluctuations. He cultivated an air of exclusivity. This made his fund highly desirable. New investors flocked to BLMIS. They were eager to get in on the seemingly sure thing. Madoff used their money to pay off existing investors. This created the illusion of success. However, there were no real investments. The money was simply cycled through the system. Madoff used new funds to pay off old investors. This kept the scheme afloat. However, it was unsustainable. Like a house of cards, it was only a matter of time before it all came crashing down. For years, Madoff's scheme operated in the shadows. He carefully concealed his tracks. He cultivated an air of legitimacy. However, the 2008 financial crisis proved to be his undoing. As the markets plummeted, investors panicked. They began to withdraw their money from BLMIS. Madoff was unable to meet these demands. His scheme began to unravel. Whispers of suspicion turned into shouts of alarm. The SEC, which had received numerous warnings about Madoff over the years, finally launched a formal investigation. On December 11, 2008, Madoff confessed to his sons. He admitted that his investment fund was one big lie. His sons went to the authorities. Madoff was arrested the next day. The news sent shockwaves through Wall Street and beyond. The world watched in disbelief as the once revered financier was exposed as a fraud. Section 4. Picking up the pieces, the devastating aftermath. The collapse of Madoff's scheme had a devastating impact on countless victims. Individuals lost their life savings. Charities were forced to close their doors. Institutions saw their endowments decimated. Among the victims were celebrities, ordinary families, and charitable foundations. The scope of Madoff's deception was staggering. The losses were estimated to be in the tens of billions of dollars. The human cost of Madoff's crimes was immeasurable. Many victims were left financially ruined. Some lost their homes. Others saw their retirement dreams shattered. The betrayal of trust was profound. Madoff's actions had far-reaching consequences. They shook faith in the financial system and left an indelible scar on the lives of countless individuals. Section 5. A blind eye turned, regulatory failures and missed opportunities. The Madoff scandal exposed serious flaws in the regulatory system. The SEC, tasked with protecting investors from fraud, had failed to detect Madoff's scheme for decades. Despite numerous red flags and warnings from whistleblowers, the SEC failed to take decisive action. Internal dysfunction, incompetence, and a lack of resources all contributed to the agency's failure. Harry Markopoulos, a financial analyst, had been warning the SEC about Madoff for years. He presented detailed evidence of Madoff's fraudulent activities. However, his warnings were ignored. The SEC's failure to act allowed Madoff to continue his scheme for far longer than he should have. This failure had devastating consequences for thousands of investors. The Madoff scandal serves as a stark reminder of the importance of robust financial regulation and the need for vigilance in the face of potential fraud. Section 6. The Long Road to Justice: Recovering Stolen Funds. In the aftermath of Madoff's arrest, a team of investigators and lawyers began the daunting task of recovering the stolen funds. Their goal was to return as much money as possible to the victims. Irving Picard, a lawyer appointed as the trustee for the liquidation of BLMIS, pursued every possible avenue to recover assets. He filed lawsuits against Madoff's accomplices and those who had profited from the scheme. Picard's efforts were aided by the work of forensic accountants. They meticulously traced the flow of funds through Madoff's complex web of accounts. They painstakingly pieced together the puzzle of Madoff's deception. Through a combination of legal action, asset recovery, and settlements, billions of dollars were clawed back. However, the full extent of the losses may never be known.